storied resume, and he's going to have his work cut out for him as he's going to have to work through a Mew VMAX Genesect on the other side of the table.
Mew versus Palkia. The older, strongest deck in the format versus the new strongest deck in the format. A lot of players still not entirely convinced that Palkia is the best deck, but the players that have been piloting it, the players that have been testing it, are in love with the list. They know what it is capable of. It was struggling to really demonstrate what it could do on stream, and that all changed last round. Even when your opponent is trying their darndest to limit your damage output, you have the means to put these hits together. Meanwhile, we've all seen it. We all know what it's capable of. The Mew VMAX gets off of the starting gate in turn 1 with those Genesects, starts drawing tons of cards, and maybe this will be the Titanic knife fight we're looking for. One of these players is going to come out of the starting gate and get so massively ahead with an explosive turn that the opponent will not be able to keep up.
Well, if anyone's capable of it, it could be Devin. It looks like this may be his pet deck with a 42nd place in Salt Lake earlier on this year. This is going to be a continued story of the Mew Genesect for him, and we already see 2 of those non-V Pokemon in the prize cards, the Meloetta and the Oricorio.
Yeah, when it comes to Mew, if he's been playing this all the way since Salt Lake City, you know that the reps have been put in, the time has been put in. The Mew VMAX deck has been tossed and turned with the ebb and flow of the metagame, and the list has had to evolve massively since then. And it's only now that we're really starting to see Mew course correct and return to its prior form of just being very selfish and consistent with its game plan.
Isaiah Bradner, of course, with the top 8 at the International earlier on this year in Frankfurt, and continued to put on a great performance. There was a 2nd place at the Indianapolis Regional, I believe 20th last week as well. So just never misses here except for this turn.
Yeah, especially starting with the Zigzagoon. We've seen how powerful it can be when your opponent isn't absolutely sure that you've brought it. Tech cards like this are always at their most potent in the first game. So now that this has been revealed, Isaiah is not going to be able to get as much value out of it as he would like, I imagine.
Well, the Path to the Peak is certainly one of the best cards that you can find on the opening turn going first. Lock that down. Maybe you can avoid every Fusion Strike system in the deck. And that's a great way to start things off. We do see the Battle VIP pass on the other side for Devin, going to be able to at least thin the deck out a little bit more, get some Pokemon into play, and it's really going to be up to that opening hand to see if there's some playability here.
With an early path, it forces Devin to just really work that extra bit harder in order to get the deck up and running. This was one of the original ways players tried to counter the list, is just cut off that draw engine, try to keep it under control while you got your own setup. And if you are able to somehow set up before Mew and start getting rid of their key benched Pokemon, maybe you can find some play. Devin's still just going about his business, though, with the Battle VIP pass and getting set up, looking through the deck now, studying the prizes, looking through the list. I am trying to figure out how many ways he actually has to deal with this Path to the Peak. I see 2 Rose Tower and 1 Old Cemetery.
Okay, so no Pumpkaboo then, and that can certainly make things awkward. Isaiah, only the 1 Path to the Peak in this list, and finds it in the top 8. So top 8 cards of his deck. So that's pretty wild that he's able to find it and potentially lock it into this turn.
Yeah, when you have the Path to the Peak, you typically like to hold it to lock your opponent down after you've kind of set them up, right? You're trying to combo it with a Marnie or a Roxanne, but because Isaiah only has the 1, it's just going to play it out now to slow down this Mew from even getting set up in the first place.
Wow, that has to feel so good if you're Isaiah. Your opponent just promotes the Meloetta and passes 2 cards in their hand. I don't think we're ever going to see a Marnie out of Isaiah.
This is the moment of truth for Isaiah. The Path to the Peak stuck. There's so many Genesects on the bench, 2 Mew V also on the bench. This is a floodgate being held back by this path. If he can capitalize on this moment, on this slow start, then he can get set up, hopefully, and get a threat into play. Only 2 Sobbles now, and the Zigzagoon hanging out in the active. going to take a moment to study the prizes, looking at the hand. We have to try to get a Palkia down and get it set up before it's too late.
You can see Isaiah just diligently working through the deck right now, trying to make sure all the counts are there. Of course, Level Ball is only going to be finding one Pokemon, not every single Pokemon in the deck, so give him a minute to figure things out.
There are 2 cross switchers in the prizes, so he's going to be cognizant of that as well. The cross switchers have been a beautiful new tech, the ability to get that powerful switching effect and still have the ability to play your supporter for the turn has been a massive boon to these players that run the Inteleon engine and can put together that combo consistently.
Yeah, especially when you already lock your opponent down and they're playing so slowly. Just the energy attachment means that that is a nice target to go for. If you are able to find double cross switcher later on, then you got to work to find the rest of those prize cards to maybe pull off that combo one more time.
And so here comes the Irida. Usually we just see the Radiant Greninja, Capacious Bucket try to come through, but instead, because you have to get your attacker down, just opts to find the Palkia V. And one more card here.
Just understanding the prize cards, we see the Hisuian Heavy Ball as one of the potential selections now.
Yeah, after so diligently looking through the deck, Isaiah understands that there is now just a Sobble and another Palkia in the prizes. Is going to try to dig for it here with the Hisuian Heavy Ball. You can look at the prize cards and find a basic Pokemon there, replace it with the Heavy Ball, and then you can do with that as you will. Great new tech from Astral Radiance, allowing players to get their key pieces that may end up in the prize cards.
Yeah, if you don't know what list your opponent is using on the other side, if they are running catchers, then you really want to have multiple of these Palkia down. So you could see that maybe that would be something you want to go with. And yes, it is going to be the Palkia V here.
Having that extra just resilience against your opponent having an explosive turn is really important. There's a cut on the prizes. Just needs to be sufficiently randomized. And they put the cross switchers on the bottom.
Never cut the prize cards. That's what you get.
Isaiah Bradner now in a position to get a very delicious gift on a silver platter from Devin if he could KO one of these Pokemon V.
Wow, just a pass of the turn. The top deck is nowhere.
Again, Isaiah popping off now with the shady dealings in Inteleon. Going to keep digging through the list, eyeballing another Irida and a scoop up net. Sees one cross switcher, knows that the other 2 are in the prizes because of the Heavy Ball, and now is already playing towards that combination.
Are you kidding me? Here comes the scoop up net. The cross switcher is going to go ahead and pop into the hand. You already know what's happening here, folks. This means that the Inteleon can be popped right back up. You can replay this Drizzile down, find the other piece of your combo, and that means that Palkia V-Star is going to be online, cross switchers coming down, and we are going to start see V Pokemon fly into the discard pile.
This is the best outcome for Isaiah, playing that early path to the peak, only 1 copy in the deck and having it stick for these 2 turns. I've never seen a Mew be so forestalled like this with such a powerful bench setup and opening. Woof. Here comes the cross switcher, bringing up this Mew V that has the fusion energy, and the Palkia V-Star already has 2 manual attachments to it. We don't need the Star Portal. The path to the peak isn't harming Isaiah Bradner at all.
And then he gets to get 2 cross switchers.
And the cross switchers.
Are you kidding me?
Back into the hand. This is how it comes out, Kyle. This is how it all shakes out. When you are a top player, when you have everything on the line in day 2 at the North American International Championships, you demonstrate when you have the plot armor over your opponent.
Oh, it feels good to be Isaiah right now. He does see a little life shine in that glimmer in Devin's eye. He did find that a Rotom Phone is going to be able to put a Cramomatic on the top of the deck.
If Cramomatic can hit heads, he can search through the deck for any card, find a stadium, and bump this path to the peak, and then immediately rocket out of the starting position.
Devin doesn't even know that he just helped his opponent.
Just has to boss and pass.
And that leads right into cross switcher.
The cross switchers that were grabbed off of the prizes was just trying to buy an extra turn of respect, but the Shady Dealings Inteleon that was scooped up before gets immediately recycled. So much cards being searched out of the deck. Isaiah's running away with this game. Everything is going in his favor here in game one. And Devin, playing a deck known for its explosive starts, has to sit across from the opponent doing everything and being unable to do absolutely anything in response.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of hope maybe for Devin that you could start to accelerate some energies, use that Meloetta, and try to get a Melodious Echo onto a Palkia V-Star. But even then, as soon as you start to see another water energy come down onto a Palkia V, or even onto a Drizzile at this point, anything, you know that you're not going to be able to work through that many attackers when you're down 4 prize cards.
Absolutely. The cross switchers, again, just demonstrating how good it is to be able to play your supporter and still have that powerful switching ability. I wonder if Devin might scoop this game. It's so unlikely, so unlucky that you won't be able to find your stadium to bump this path to the peak. But the fact that it hit turn 1 was just so godlike. Isaiah now just pulling with the Irida Battle VIP pass that is going to just serve as discard fodder at this point in the game. We know that Isaiah is playing the Battle VIP Pass version of Palkia, trying to take a little bit of the pages from Mew's book, but is no need of it here with such a strong opener and setup.
Yeah, that is wild that you can just search out the bad cards of your deck with a supporter card and still be so dominantly ahead right now. Haven't seen the energy attachment just yet. Here it is, Palkia V-Star coming down, the energy as well, and that is a huge knockout here on the Mew V.
Yep.
Devin understands what's happening. We're moving to game 2.
Wow. Isaiah Bradner just running away with that game. Early path to the peak, completely shutting down that Mew VMAX deck. That is... I know there's a lot of people out there like, oh man, I love to see Mew lose, but it is always a shame to see players come this far and then suddenly have a game just be completely denied. Devin has an opportunity now to bring this back and try to find that 2-0, which Mew VMAX is certainly capable of doing.
Yeah, besides benching Pokemon, Devin played 3-4 cards. That's not Pokemon. He didn't even get to play. He's been working tirelessly to get to this point. 13 rounds deep, gets to the 14th round, and on stream, just absolutely nothing to do because of one little stadium card. You know that he's got a response lined up. I'm excited to see how he performs here with at least one big turn potentially in him going first.
Mew being unable to play any Pokemon is a phrase that you don't hear very often. Mew VMAX is a deck that some would say gets to play the most Pokemon, drawing through so many cards, almost a third of your deck immediately. We've seen Genesect pop off time and time again. Devin just needs to get his setup accomplished. And again, with both players running Battle VIP Pass, the fireworks, the explosive potential of what they're going to be capable of on their first turn is just insurmountable here.
Yeah, I know it's the start of summer, but you got to go to the pumpkin patch. you have to have the Pumpkaboo technology in order to get through decks like this. It is so tough to find the right cards at the right time, even if you do play high counts of those stadium cards, because you can't search them out effectively. Yeah, you have Cramomatic, but it doesn't always work like that.
The Elisa Sparkle and a Fusion Strike energy being put in the prizes means that the Melodious Echo is going to have a little bit of a nerfed damage cap unless we can do some early work, maybe taking down Sobbles. Devin has to start with the Oricorio in the active spot and a Meloetta.
Oh, this is going to be a huge flip here. This hand is not very strong. Cramomatic has to bail out here. We need to see the Battle VIP Pass to get a good game too.
And 50-50, and it's tails!
He's got
Does Devin have anything else to do this turn?
He's got the Rose Tower and energy and a choice belt, but you don't want to put these cards on these Pokemon right now. Gonna have to commit them early just to see 2 cards in the deck.
2 top decks.
Rotom.
Another Cramomatic, another chance at redemption.
Here it is.
Here in game 2. Roll the dice, flip the coin. Tails!
Oh no!
pass! Isaiah Bradner with one Sobble in the active has everything being served to him here on a silver platter. I knew that Isaiah had some protagonist energy and some plot armor, but this is just too much.
This is unbelievable. Isaiah's just going to go about his usual strategy. We saw a peek in the hand. There's a Battle VIP pass in the Palkia's hands. Come on.
This turn is going to be explosive. Isaiah Bradner, still a very calm and collected player, still going to do his due diligence, look through the deck, study the prizes, before absolutely annihilating this opening turn and getting so far ahead. What a devastating outcome here. The Cram-O-Matics have been such a strong part of Mew VMAX's list for so long. To see it not come through when everything is on the line is truly heartbreaking.
One card left in the hand for Devin. If this Rose Tower is countered, he is completely reliant off the top of his deck.
And now with that first turn denied, a top deck battle VIP pass would be just useless. You have to find just top deck Genesect, draw more cards, draw into another Genesect. That there is a chain, there is a line, but if Isaiah, already riding high on such ridiculous outcomes here in game number 2, could very easily somehow find that path to the peak and shut down that possibility. Here comes the Irida. Can find the Palkia V and another card to shore up this setup that's already in the works.
Yep, just item card along with this Pokemon, so we're going to likely see Sobble, and just depends on what else you're looking for here. Maybe you start looking towards the future. We could see Level Ball finds Drizziles, which finds good cards and wins games.
Yeah, we know that once again, Isaiah does have a cross switcher in the prizes, and so could just keep going aggressive, trying to look for that other piece and just set up for that future turn like we saw in that very beautiful first game.
Depending on how low Isaiah could play this hand, maybe some use out of the Rose Tower could come into effect as well. There's still a discard available with the Radiant Greninja, concealed cards, after, of course, that Capacious Bucket was already played on this opening turn. That could potentially draw into a stadium here, so plenty of live plays here off the top of the deck.
After the cut, these are the two cards that Devin has decided that Isaiah Bradner needs to have.
Well, great cards to find. Capacious Bucket along with a Palkia V-Star. That lines up really smooth here for a big turn 2.
And Devin has to scramble, has to put all of his faith in this next top deck. It's got to be Big Kyle. The only thing I can think of, Genesect V, drawing 3 cards, getting another Genesect, keep on chaining it. But even if you are able to somehow recover from the, I think, the biggest brick, I would have to say, that we've ever seen for a Mew VMAX deck on stream, to claw back from this position would be a miracle in and of itself. And if any deck can do it, it's got to be Mew.
Devin is looking at this board saying, please don't counter the stadium. I need this. And with every passing second, he's thinking, all right, I'm getting one step closer. He's playing a lot of cards on the other side, but there is a window. Of course, if you do see a Pokemon off the top, you play a bench Pokemon, you rip with the Rose Tower, you could start to see that chaining, and maybe Devin can bail himself out, but this is looking so grim.
And it all comes down to this next draw. Isaiah passes, and here it comes.
Oh, there's the start.
Genesect! Yes, yes, it's all
Rose
falling
Tower.
into place.
Oh no, Battle VIP pass.
Old Cemetery. Elisa Sparkle.
These are not the Pokemon that you necessarily want to sparkle.
Oh,
you could maybe
goodness.
set up a retreat with your Oricorio and get an energy on your Meloetta.
All right, so here comes the attachments. Thin those out of the deck. Try to narrow the hand. So now we do have still access to the Genesect V's Fusion Strike system.
Yes,
we have access to the Rose Tower.
There is 2 cards potentially available. I think the Rose Tower was the use, and the Greninja is still available, if I'm not mistaken. Which would mean that the Cemetery could be played down. Then you can also use your draw and then start to build up as well.
Okay. So now with the attachment, there's still, so suffice to say, there's, 3-ish cards that can let Devin come back into this game with no path to the peak. The Genesect can run wild. That Fusion Strike system just drawing so many cards. It's been the linchpin of this deck's consistency for so long, and it needs to come all down to this point for Devin. With 2 Fusion Strike energies in play, we do have some very spooky damage with the Melodious Echo. Here it goes. Trekking Shoes, a Mew, okay.
That's a good start. We need to see maybe Genesect or Quick Ball here. Likes this one, it's a Quick Ball.
Yes! Discards the useless battle VIP pass, can now search through the deck with the Quick Ball to find a Genesect, keep drawing more cards. It's all coming together. It's doing it after such a crazy break in the first round. Can Devin really establish from here and actually put up a threat?
Well, this is going to lead into likely another Genesect. That's 5 more cards in the hand.
It feels so weird to be rooting for Mew, but I love an underdog. Like, to fight back from such a ridiculously unlucky start, I can't help but get hype.
I don't even know if Isaiah cares at this point. Yeah, I mean, look, your Meloetta's pretty ridiculous right now, my guy.
The Meloetta with a double turbo energy and a choice belt on it. This has never happened before in the history of the Pokemon TCG. You can quote me on that.
Well, a little discussion right now with the table judge, it looks like. Maybe just trying to figure out some ordering or what's all happening here.
With something shuffled, the old cemetery now in play means that when you attach an energy, that Pokemon will take 2 damage if it's not a non-psychic type Pokemon, that is. Yep. So just going to shuffle a little bit more. So Isaiah just making sure. I mean, after Devin has gotten so unlucky, like, you got to make sure there is, again, that sufficient randomization. Drawing up to 5.
Finds another Genesect.
It's actually coming together. Devin drawing enough cards to maybe make something happen here, has the Rotom Phone as well to find the next card needed to tie together the rest of this attack. But with no Mew VMAX, no real threats in play, can Meloetta really put up a big of enough fight with only 2 Fusion Strike energies in play?
Yeah, just the fact that the 2 Fusion Strike energies are in play means that the Meloetta is going to be a threat. Just the potential for the 4 Fusion energies means that Palkia needs to respect that Pokemon. But at the same time, we see on the bench just a 1 lone Mew V. And that is something that we know Palkias love to eat. So it'd be interesting to see what the line is here. Isaiah definitely doesn't want to get knocked out in 1 hit, but you also don't want to be playing against a big Mew VMAX with a ton of hit points.
Yep, we've got full benches almost on both sides now, especially with this Genesect. Here we go, and that Mew V has just a gigantic bullseye on it for Isaiah Bradner to bring it up with those cross switchers. Power Tablet also being used, going to draw up to 6 now.
Yep. Ordering of the draw, I guess, not terribly relevant. Did not put the card from the Rotom Phone back on top, but we know where that was going. And this discard of the Fusion Strike energy may lead Isaiah to feel a little more comfortable. Might be able to ignore the Meloetta potentially, as it does take this knockout here on the Sobble. We'll have to see what ends up coming out here. And Isaiah, yeah, he's going to think about this because if Cross Switcher plays are online to remove a lone Mew V, that's somewhere you might like to be.
Isaiah has all the time in the world here. Has the cross switcher, trying to figure out the combo.
The finger dance, we love it. Look at the flick of the wrist, you know?
That mental image of how exactly I'm going to sequence this turn, just visualizing how the turn is going to go through before you fully commit. Isaiah Bradner, once again, even being in such a dominant position, doesn't want to miss sequences, making sure that the game state and all of the sequences from both him and his opponent is perfectly correct, doesn't want anything to get in the way of this potential 2-0 in Swiss round 14.
Well, this is beautiful. The boss's orders is just what the doctor ordered. That is going to be a great way to remove this Mew V, not have to use those cross switchers. And that leaves a lot of plays later on down the road. Maybe you do need to have a supporter in combination with your cross switchers. Go ahead and use the supporter now while you can cash in on it. And even removing that choice belt with the tool scrapper is going to be so clean in potentially keeping this Palkia V-Star around for another turn.
So this is essentially two attacking forces being taken out of the running. Isaiah Bradner furthering his own win condition and also stifling the opponent. This is the mark of a great Pokemon deck that can attack your opponent from so many different angles at once.
Yeah, Isaiah's just going to do some quick math here. We already saw a power tablet in the discard pile, the choice belt in the discard pile. Maybe he has to think about the old cemetery, and if the energy attachment is relevant on the active or on the bench, if you need to work in a star portal, and yeah, the training court is going to be a clean way to just avoid that, cash in on one energy from the discard pile now, and not have to worry about getting those extra damage counters on your active Pokemon.
Keeping Devin out of the game has been Isaiah's entire strategy with that path to the peak in game one, and now not putting any additional damage counters on a Pokemon potentially that Devin can exploit.
I'm no scientist, but that's a knockout. We're doing a lot of damage right now.
Exactly. Even with the Oricorio, it doesn't affect the math.
Yeah, 220 is going to definitely be a knockout on the active Mew V.
And so now it's back over to Devin with the choice belt off of the Meloetta with the Mew V going down. Devin has to find a way to get enough damage into play. One Fusion Strike energy is in the prizes, so this Melodious Echo isn't going to be hitting for the numbers that he needs.
Devin sitting with a pretty cluttered hand right now, but does have the Ultra Ball. It's going to be a nice way to potentially thin this down a little bit. And it's always interesting to see which cards you discard off of an Ultra Ball here. Like, you see a Battle VIP Pass, of course, it's a card you don't need right now, but then you have to start thinking, well, if I find Cramomatic, maybe that's the card I needed to hold on to instead. So a lot of decisions here, even when it starts to look pretty simple.
The Cramomatic, yeah, you have to discard an item card to use it, and that's so important. When your back's against the wall, we've seen how powerful Starbirth can be. Looking through your deck for a specific card that you want. Big shout out to Starbirth and Raihan and Cramomatic for finding those missing pieces and saving so many doomed games. And Devin has to pray that the card that he needs is going to be within his reach.
And we see a discard of the Echoing Horn, so an item with maybe potential value for, to hold on to a Battle VIP Pass with clearly no value. Interesting call.
Yeah, the Echoing Horn has been a really great tech in Mew to be able to sidestep your opponent. If they have something in the active you just can't deal with, you bring back a Pokemon V, that basic Pokemon, and just be able to snipe it out is so important to be able to close out games when your opponent's trying to stall that out. But now Devin, again, with the Meloetta in the active, trying to work on another Mew V and get that set up instead. Just can't find the resources, puts the power tablet down, has to commit this early just to thin the hand a bit more to set up for Fusion Strike system.
Yeah, the only real way to attack this turn is going to be by way of Alyssa Sparkle. That is the 6th card there.
So we can find Alyssa Sparkle, Cramomatic discarding the Battle VIP Pass. Gonna try to flip the coin one more time.
This has not been Devin's friend, and finally.
And it's ahead. So what do you think Devin is looking for here, Kyle?
It depends if the math is available. It doesn't look the best. It just depends if all of the Fusion Strike energies are available to get a knockout here. You do see at least one belt, but then you also have to incorporate the double turbo as a little bit of a reduction too. So we'll see how many amplifiers are available. Maybe that's something on Devin's mind here.
With the Fusion Strike energy being put into play, that Melodious Echo gets boosted a little bit more. There's still 2 more Fusion Strike systems available. Could naturally draw into those power tablets, maybe with the help of the Rotom Phone, the other Cramomatic, and the so there's a lot that you can work with here. There is so much potential, right? With a deck like this, it can draw so many cards. You know that it has nothing but potential.
Looks like the call is going to be a boss's orders.
So Devin picking up the boss, maybe trying to strand something in the active, probably just looking for a play to, just plan for the future. And this shows that Devin is confident that he can stay in this game.
Yep.
Stranding a Drizzile is never a reliable strategy, unfortunately, because of scoop up net, because of the ability to potentially just retreat that or just evolve it. We've seen players do cheeky lines like that before, where Drizzile gets stranded in the active and suddenly it becomes Shady Dealings and Teleon. You've got an Aqua Bullet ready to go.
Yeah, there is a Fusion Strike energy still on that Meloetta. It's kind of hidden under the double turbo there a little bit, so there is a knockout lined up at least. It is a one-prize knockout, so at least something to look forward to. And Meloetta is still a decent-sized threat.
The second power tablet being put on the board here, just again lowering the hand as much as possible to set up for the third Fusion Strike system. Choice Belt being attached to the Mew V. And draws back up to 6 once again. Melodious Echo. Isaiah being polite, putting those power tablets in the discard pile, keeping everything neat and clean.
What a gentleman. Yeah, the second power tablet taking it over the edge to take the knockout on the Drizzile. And now Isaiah understands that that Mew V is a threat.
Now that Devin has been able to claw his way back into this game and truly get set up, now there's so many threats that need to be dealt with. Once this Meloetta goes down, that'll be another Fusion Strike energy leaving play. But the Mew VMAX with that cross fusion, with that strike, copying the Techno Blast can still deal considerable damage.
Well, we do see Evolution Incense is going to be grabbing Shady Dealings and Teleon. One cross switcher already in the hand. So if the Mew V is the target of choice, Isaiah will have plenty of reach there.
And let's see what Isaiah has in store.
Love the sequencing. Potentially could draw right into those cards before the Shady Dealing.
We see the Path to the Peak in hand. Does get it from the Concealed Cards ability. Shady Dealings and Teleon going to dig a little bit more. And now the option for Isaiah Bradner is that in the first game, the Path to the Peak just came down. Didn't need to use the Star Portal. And I'm wondering if this is going to be the opportunity to set up this Palkia V-Star that's in the active right now.
Yeah, it's tough to call. The Palkia V-Star is going to be a pretty big target. You might not feel threatened right now in this situation just by this Meloetta with the double turbo energy and the fusion. And we've already seen a lot of damage amplifiers hitting the discard pile.
Yeah, just going for the Pal Pad, the other cross switcher, can put some important pieces, shuffle them back into the deck.
Boss, good card.
When players are looking to close out games, the boss becomes the focal point of those strategies. Isaiah Bradner setting it up. And when you've got Inteleon backing you up, that can rear its ugly head at any time. Devin has to be very, very nervous from this point. It took so much effort just to get to this point to even put up a threat in the first place that now it could all come crashing down with this Palkia V-Star and a potential boss's orders follow-up.
Yeah, the scoop up net there is so clean. Get to pick up that Inteleon, have the Drizzile for the following turn, already placed the boss down, and we see that training court getting some use, that additional energy onto the Palkia V. We see, I believe, the energy in hand as well, too, so multiple attackers lined up, looking to close things out here with maybe a boss on the next turn.
And there it is, the Subspace Swell, just taking down that Mew V. That was such a big threat. Meloetta comes back up to the active. Melodious Echo very, very down-powered at this point. The final Fusion Strike energy still in the prizes for Devin. Mew V shows up trying to maintain some sort of pressure. And here's the escape rope. Palkia V-Star goes back to the bench. What do you think Isaiah is going to promote in its place? Oh, it's the second one that's all ready to go. Just needs one more energy. So Devin is just trying to cheat this Mew up into the active, but is it going to be enough?
Yeah, the Sobble is the key piece in Isaiah's setup right now. It is the way to find the boss's orders to close out the match. So obviously sees that Palkia V-Star, says, I've got 280 hit points. If you can't get rid of me, I'm going to just attach an energy and Drizzile and go. And if you do get rid of me, Well, my twin brother's waiting in the wings to get you.
And Isaiah just consistently looking at Devin's discard pile, just making absolutely sure that he's fully aware of what resources and what lines Devin might have. At this level of play, we talk so much about players focusing on their game plans, knowing their decks back to front, really just consistently thinking about all the different possibilities that can happen in a matchup, and Isaiah is making sure that he's doing the same for his opponent's sake.
The Rotom phone didn't quite catch what that found there, but just so many pieces missing right now for Devin in order to chain together something strong. Maybe this is going to be one of those slower turns where you just have to promote one of these one-prize Pokemon and hope it's not there, but you already know that the Scoop Up Net picked up the Drizzile. You're asking so much of your deck right now to find an answer.
As the Fusion Strike energy here is able to attach to the Mew V. Just a little bit more utility, thinning the hand with the Quick Ball, discards another, trying to get as many cards out of the hand as possible and just keep drawing with Genesect. At this point, the deck is so thin, Devin is just trying to draw for those key pieces that he's been trying to set up this whole time.
Well, the hand is getting smaller. It means that some additional cards can be drawn into, but what is left to help bail out a situation as dire as this?
Another power tablet, has a Crematic,
Oh,
does
the
finally
boss.
get through to the boss's orders to bring up the Palkia V. With the Fusion Strike energy on the Mew, we need one more attachment to try to use another big attack to deal this 220 if possible. And the final Fusion Strike system is finally used. Mew V just going to retreat back and into Melodious Echo.
Well, we are cross-switcher shenanigans away from a game close.
And here comes the Drizzile searching for it. There is the cross-switcher indeed.
Oh, I think we have it. There's the Irida in the hand as well. That's going to be able to search out the second cross-switcher, double cross-switcher, promote one of these Vs, and that's going to be the game. Isaiah Bradner, clean 2-0 here in round 14.
This was a prophecy long coming. The Palkia players said that when you go up against Mew, the matchup is free. This was what you told me, Kyle, and we're seeing it on full display here. Devin got off to a really bad start in Game 1 and Game 2, and even when it looked like he was crawling back and putting up a valiant effort, Isaiah still was under no threat the entire time.
Yeah, this is exactly the way Isaiah drew it up. You start Zigzagoon, you play down a pass,